This is the plaintiff, Cordia Antoinette Tony Ayers. She says she sold her above-ground pool to the defendant, a coworker, and hasn't been paid a dime since 2009. She also has since found out the defendant sold the thing on eBay and can't for the life of her understand why he won't pay up. She's suing for $1,500, the amount owed. This is the defendant, Victor Canty. He says his landlord prohibited him from setting up the pool in his yard, and after a year he took it upon himself and had it removed. He feels bad about his now ruined friendship with the plaintiff, but is certainly not going to pay her for something he couldn't use. He's accused of being a real fool about a pool.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff sold the defendant a pool 2 years ago, still hasn't gotten paid. It gets worse. The defendant says, well, look, my landlord says I couldn't use the pool, so it was no value to me, but he actually sold it on eBay. It's the case of everybody in the pool.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Cordia Antoinette Ayers, you are suing Victor Canty for $1,500, the cost of a pool he was supposed to pay you and never did.
Exactly.
Okay, what happened?
This is a picture of the pool.
Okay, yes.
We worked together probably 5 or 6 in the same area 5 or 6 years.
And what kind of work is this?
I'm a registered nurse. He's a surgical tech.
Okay.
We talked all the time. We're friends. He professed to be a Christian. He talked about his church and that, oh, God, this. And I mean, so I trusted him. And he was. You
think because somebody goes to church and talks about going to church that you can trust them?
Well, the way he talked all the time, everything was, God's been good to me, God. So I believed him. And, you know, I had worked with him for a while. I didn't have any reason not to believe him, so I didn't get a written.
Because you do know that liars come in all shapes, sizes, colors, ethnicities, religions, genders,
yes, I'm finding
orientations.
that out more. I've been naive.
Okay, go ahead.
He was moving because he said he was buying another house, a larger house, because they had another baby. So, and he kept talking about he missed having a pool when he moved. Well, my husband and I were moving from our house to a smaller home. So I asked I said, why don't we just sell the pool? We still have the house. I didn't have to sell the pool. So I talked to Victor. First he said he couldn't afford it. Then he said I offered him to pay. Told him he could pay me a small amount every month. He agreed.
And so what did you sell the pool to him for?
$1,500.
And then he was going to pay you how much every month?
$25 a pay period, $50 a month, just a minimal amount, what he could afford.
How long was it going to take him to pay?
It was going to take him forever.
What were you going to do if he didn't pay you?
Well, he said he was going to pay me. I trusted him.
And that's all you need?
I thought he was a good person, and I was just going to do it for him.
All right, so what happened?
So he and his family and friend came, and they took down the pool. I didn't hear from him for a month. A month later,
did he pay you the $50?
He didn't pay me anything. A month later, he comes to me and says...
Did you have him sign anything?
No. A month later, he came to me and said that he says, I'm going to have to bring the pool back. I said, bring it back to where? He said, my landlord won't let me have it.
I thought he owned the house.
That's what he told me. He told me he was buying the house. I said, and then I said, your landlord, I thought you were buying it. Then he said the Civic Association said he couldn't have the pool, and that everybody in there, he had told me a lot of people in the neighborhood where he was living had pools. So he said everybody in the neighborhood was going to have to take their pools down. So he couldn't have a pool. So I said, well, Victor, once you came and got that pool and took it down, you owe me $1,500. That was our agreement. I can't do anything with the pool. He said, you want me to pay you for the pool? I said, yes. He says, well, I know I can sell it on eBay. I said, okay, that's fine. So then about a year has passed. So I went to him, and a coworker that I was working with, she was talking about getting a pool. And I said, well, let me talk to Victor and see if he still has the million pieces. And I told her about it. And she said, well, I have somebody that could put it together. So I went to him and I said, Victor, do you still have the pool? And he said, yes, all but the liner. And I said, well, I told her she'd probably have to buy a liner. So then the next day, he comes to me and says, oh, I just didn't know how to tell you, but my landlord threw it away. But, Your Honor, I have 2 sworn statements from people at that work, because I was angry then, so I said something to one of my friends, and she said something to the other. Then 2 people came to me and said, he sold that pool.
What's going on?
Tony and I had agreed that I would buy her pool. And
it was for $1,500.
And it was for $1,500.
And you were going to pay how much a month?
Whatever, 25.
What's whatever?
$50 a month.
Wow, that's a great deal for you.
Exactly.
And so that was really nice of her to sell it to you under those circumstances.
Yes, it was.
And then what happened?
Later on, it wasn't right away. I was in the process of getting ready to set the pool up. And my landlord, we were leasing the house. It was a lease option. The landlord comes by and, he's standing in the house. He looks out. "Oh, you're putting up a pool?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "I didn't tell you that you're not allowed to have pools in this subdivision." I says, "Well, there's other people in the subdivision that have pools. I can see 2 out of my bedroom window." And I took him upstairs, showed him the pools. He said, "I guarantee you by the end of the month they would be gone." By the end of the month, they were gone.
Now, this is how long after you had taken the pool from her and agreed to the deal and agreed to pay $1,500?
It was probably 2-3 weeks.
So now a couple weeks pass and you find out you can't have the pool. What do you tell Tony?
I would get my friend to bring it back to wherever she might want us to bring the pool
Tony
to.
Tony doesn't want it. She wants her $1,500 deal that you've already struck. What did Tony say? Sure, bring the pool back?
She said, "No, I don't want the pool back."
Yeah, it's your pool and you owe me $1,500. Maybe she's more polite. Tony's a little more polite than I am, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so, and you tell her, okay, let me see, I could probably sell it on eBay.
Well, I did try. I did try, not on eBay, but on Craigslist. I did try to sell the pool on Craigslist. We did not sell the pool on Craigslist. Where she got her sworn statements, I have no idea, could care less, but I know for a fact.
I might care.
We did not sell the pool.
What'd you do with the pool?
I left it in the yard. It was in pieces in the yard.
And yet what happened?
But the landlord stayed on me to get rid of the pool.
Until what?
Until finally, we had an emergency that we had to go out of town for. But this was a period of a year. And we went out of town, came back, the pool was gone.
Is there any defense that this guy has in this case?
No. I mean, if you sold the use, pretty much made profit off.
Even if he didn't sell it, once he buys it, is it the seller's fault that the landlord says you can't use it?
It's the thing is about it. He purchased the pool. He could have figured this out right off the bat. I mean, as soon as he got it there, he could have returned it. He had a lot of options.
Kind of audacity, isn't it? Incredible audacity to keep this pool and not give the money back.
Yeah, I think it's his problem that he can't use the pool. He should pay either way.
I would think so, going inside the courtroom.
Who had taken the pool?
I assume the landlord did.
Did you ever check with the landlord to see if he took it?
I did check with the landlord, and he said that it became his property once I put it in the yard. And him and I parted on a bad note because he was a gambler and he lost the house that we lived in, and we had to move.
So that's to explain why you don't have a shred of evidence to back up anything you're saying about what happened to the pool. Because I would expect you to have at a minimum an affidavit from your landlord regarding everything.
That, and I did try to get that from him. But
and what happened when you tried?
Well, the language he used, I shouldn't use in court. But
okay, let's look at these statements. Victor Canty, myself, and Tony worked in the same area. This is from Eunice Bray. You know Eunice Bray?
I do.
Okay. Eunice Bray have any reason to lie on you?
Yes, I do think she would.
Why? What, would you have a problem with her?
No, I don't have a problem with her, but I'm just saying she would be biased.
Why?
Because she's Tony's friend.
Let's see what Eunice says. Eunice says, around a month or so later, I asked him if he was enjoying the pool. He told me he had to sell the pool because his community civic association would not allow him to put it up. Said he sold it on eBay. Said I sold the pool for a lot more money. At that time, I assumed he had paid Tony for the pool. Several months later, one of our mutual friends told me Victor had not paid Tony any money for the pool. I felt so bad because I knew he had sold the pool, so I decided to tell her he sold the pool. Cami Jones. You know who Cami Jones is?
I do.
Cordia Ayers offered to sell her pool to me for $1,500. I knew it was in excellent condition. I asked her to give me a few days. I told her then I couldn't afford it. She told me Victor Canty had expressed an interest. It was after several months that I let her know that Victor Canty had been involved in another situation with one of our coworkers, which was also about money owed by Victor. Shortly after this, he said he had been able to sell the pool to somebody else. What was the other situation about money with a coworker?
I have no idea.
Do you?
Well, this is, Your Honor, this is hearsay. A group of us, Victor said he had throat cancer, so everyone came together and donated money, and we donated our time.
What do you mean?
We donated our vacation time so he could have time off because he said he was getting treatment for throat cancer. And then a person that works directly with him told us that he did not have throat cancer. He was working another job. And I mean, this is, but it was told
Did you
to me
have
by
throat cancer?
Yes, I did.
It was told to me by two different
Were you
people.
working a job at
Yes,
the
I
time
was.
that you were taking time off?
No, I was sick during the time that I
So
used.
did you work a second job, yes or no, at that time?
No, I was not.
You weren't working either job during that time?
No, I was not.
How do you do this to somebody who's nice enough to not just pick up money and collect
Your
money
Honor,
and donate money? I'm not done. And donate money to you, but also gave you her time off, her vacation time off. How do you strike a deal with her, take her pool, and not pay her a penny? How do you figure?
I have not said that she wasn't a good person. I have not denied that
that's nice.
what she's done for me in the past. I don't deny that whatsoever.
The question pending is, why then would you stiff her for $1,500 and not pay one penny of the deal you struck with her?
I offered to bring the pool back wherever she
I
would
don't
want
care
me
that you offered to bring the pool back. That assumes you have a right to bring the pool back. That assumes you have a right to rescind the contract that you entered into. You don't. So why would you keep the pool or sell it on eBay? Because two people are saying that you said you sold it on eBay. All right? So why would you have a right to do this to somebody who is nothing but kind and generous to you?
I would not have that right, Your Honor.
That's right. You don't. Pay the lady her money. All right? Pay the lady her money. $1,500 verdict for the plaintiff.
Well, the decision is in for the plaintiff in this case. The defendant's right here. What's your reaction to getting blown out of the courtroom like that?
I think it was unfair. The judge didn't want to hear what I had to say. And the two witnesses that she had, they just blatantly lied.
Mm-hmm. At the end, you said I didn't have any right to withhold $1,500 from her, not pay her for that pool. Well, what did you mean by that?
No, I didn't. No, I did not have the right to do that. But I didn't have the money to pay her, nor did I have the pool to give back. I offered to bring it back after, a couple of weeks of having it, and
That's
she
called
refused to
stiffing
pay.
her, isn't it?
No,
What do you call it?
I call it returning her merchandise.
You returned her merchandise?
That's what I would have done.
All right, right around the corner there, and explain it around there. Come on out here. He says he would have returned your merchandise. He didn't stiff you. He would have returned it.
In pieces. There was nothing I could do with scraps.
Well, did you get it back?
No, he sold it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these two people came up to me that when they heard about it, they came to me and said that they assumed that he had given me the
Well,
money.
how shocked are you that this church-going man that you trusted so much turned around and did this to you?
I'm not shocked now because he's a pathological liar. This isn't the first scam.
Harvey?
Forget about eBay. It's not her fault that he can't use the pool. He has to pay.